My brothers and sisters, and my beloved confreres, I extend a heartfelt greetings to each one of you on the 14th Sunday of the liturgical calendar. We are invited today through the readings to have a shift of our power into a mode of authority. In the early 1990s, Alvin Toffler, one of the famous American authors, wrote a very famous book called The Power Shift. The Power Shift. As I was reading through this book, I was very much touched by a small explanation which he gave in this book about what power shift is. He says, there are three kinds of powers in this world. The first kind of power is the money power. But he says is not a lasting power. Today's rich man is tomorrow's pauper. The second kind of power is the muscle power, the bodily power. But he says even that is not a lasting power. The one who is healthy today can be a cancer patient tomorrow. But he says there is a lasting power in this world of which you and I can be the owner. That is the power of knowledge. In order to explain this power of knowledge, Alvin Toffler gives a wonderful example. You go out into the streets. There you meet a vendor who is selling the coconut. You buy the coconut from him, and at that very moment, you buy that coconut from him. He loses the coconut and you receive it. But you go to a classroom. There you will find a quite different thing happening. The teacher is taking class in the classroom. As the teacher is imparting the knowledge, does he lose the knowledge that he is possessing? Not at all. He in fact gives the knowledge to the students without losing it, and the students gain it. This is the power shift that is needed for the world today. The lasting power, the power of knowledge. My brothers and sisters, today through the readings, especially the first reading from the book of Zechariah, we are invited to understand a new power shift that is expected of each one of us in the world today. Zechariah, the prophet, brings home to us a new message, and the message is, rejoice Jerusalem, shout aloud, because your king is coming into your town. Your new king, and the way he comes is totally different from that of the other kings that you have had. This king comes on the back of a donkey. Jubilate and celebrate your life with him. You know the story and the background of Israel. Israel had many mighty kings. King Saul, King David, King Solomon. They were all warriors, powerful men who had led wars against other nations. They went on chariots. They went on horseback. They had the battle plow. But at the same time, you will find they lost many of the wars. They could not stop the destruction of Jerusalem. You need today a new shift into the understanding of what governing is, what leadership is, what animation is. And that's exactly what the prophet is telling the people of Israel. Your king comes on the back of a donkey. And this king is someone who would make a difference for your life. His approach to life is totally different. And I believe Jesus took gladly this message of the prophet. He entered into the city of Jerusalem on the back of a donkey, and the people surrounding him sang Hosanna to the king. And what they held in their hand was the olive branches, which is the sign of peace, sign of joy, and sign of global unity. My brothers and sisters, we are welcome today to a new power shift, a new order of animation, leadership, and lifestyle in the kingdom of Jesus. That's exactly what we would find in the gospel today. The gospel invites us to become more and more childlike. Jesus prays to his Father, "My Father, I thank you sincerely that you have not revealed these things to the so-called wise people, but instead you have revealed the values of the kingdom to the babes, to the little ones." And he is so happy. Who are these little ones? The little ones are those on the periphery, those who are not having the power in their hand, those who are in need of others' help. And that's precisely why the gospel began at the shore of the sea. People who are at the borders are the ones who are selected to be these babes who can make a difference in the world today. What I find very interesting today is one of the characteristics that is proposed of this new leadership, of a new leader. Jesus says, "I'm gentle of heart." I would like to dwell with you a bit more about this particular virtue of gentleness. Normally, when we speak about gentleness, our ordinary understanding of this virtue is that the one who is not talking so much, the one who has a low tonnage in his communication, the one who bends his head and walks around, we name them. He is very, very gentle. But it need not be the truth. In fact, this word gentleness comes from the Greek root prautes, which means serenity and power that emerges not out of the emotions of a person, but the emotions of the person is changed from what it really is in accordance with the right reason. That means I'm not moved by my emotions to dictate terms, but by the right discernment of the reason. That's why Saint Francis de Sales, the gentleman saint, states this wonderful virtue as one that can make difference in the life of a person. He says, gentleness has to go hand in hand with firmness. I'm very much aware when we speak about gentleness, we need to get into the mode of understanding it from the right perspective. St. Francis de Sales himself was depicted to be a man of high temperament. He used to time and again get angry with his companions, and he had to take a decisive turn in his life in order to understand who he really is by vowing not to get angry with anyone. And as a bishop, he had a great incident to explain to us what he experienced in his person. One day, as he was in the bishop's house, a man came to him, but he was on a volatile attitude and speaking very, very rough language to the bishop. Jane de Chantal, the spiritual daughter of St. Francis de Sales, was also near him. But this man went on abusing the bishop for a long time. But the bishop did not answer a word back. As this man went back, Jane de Chantal asked St. Francis de Sales, "My Lord Bishop, you should have at least given back to him a tight reply for his abuses." But the bishop, in all his gentleness, tells this nun, "My daughter, what I have built up in 20 years' time, do you want me to lose it in 10 seconds' time? What I have built up in 20 years' time, do you want me to lose it in 10 seconds' time?" A great power shift. A leader who was in authority, who was in power, who was born in a noble family, brought up in a castle, a man who had authority and power as a local ordinary, a bishop, and endowed with intellectual capacities. He stands now firm and says, "I know how I need to react to the other person." A man with gentleness and firmness. This in fact brings home to us, my brothers and sisters, a clarity, Our behavioral styles need not be in accordance with our emotional tendencies. I was living with the Franciscan fathers in Germany as I was doing my studies. I was very much influenced by their spirituality. You know, Francis of Assisi, when he founded the order, he wanted this order to be minor order. He never wanted to be a major, but the minor, the smaller one. The superior of a Franciscan community is known as guardian, one who guards the other, the one who is along with him. He is a guardian. The Franciscan family, the Capuchins, would call their provincial a minister, someone who is called to serve the other. Our vocation today is to guard the other. Our vocation today is to minister to others, not to dictate time with others on the basis of our power and the strength and affluence that we have. Today, the world order needs to be changed. The leaders of the political and religious level have to understand the leadership that is dictated by Jesus for each one of us is one of gentleness, a new kingdom that proposes peace and serenity to the whole world, wherein the leader himself is the one who becomes a guardian, a minister, a servant for the sake of the other. I conclude with the beautiful example of the elephant, the mighty animal. Most of the time, this animal, when it is trained well, it can be used very well to carry the timber. But this animal has also one speciality, its trunk. The trunk of an elephant is made of 40,000 individual muscles. With that one trunk, it can uproot a tree. But you remember, when trained properly, it can also pamper a little child with this trunk. This is exactly the power shift. We need to change the world order today, in spite of the fact that we have power to make others to come out of the treacherous situations that they have, so that they have also equal right to live with us. Let's rejoice and shout aloud. A new king is arrived, and he is proclaiming a message of world order of peace and serenity. Amen.